Going live, 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 staying alive.
All right. I'm watching the meter go. The meter is going. But I was going to use. All right, here we go. Hello, everyone.
Hello,
Troy
everyone.
Parkins here with
Janet Colasso,
our friendly
hypnotherapist.
And I am on the way, by the way, to Las Vegas. Woo-hoo! So, and we have an audience here. We actually have a live audience for HypnoTalk.
Yeah.
Just to let
me
you
just
know.
say, before you all pee your pants and call the CHP, Troy is not, in fact, driving right now. Like, I know, I looked at him and I'm going, oh, crap. Don't look at me. Look at the road. And
I was driving and I pulled over, and we have an audience here of many, many people, thousands of people. You can hear them. I don't know if you can hear them there. Yes. And they're excited because this episode of HypnoTalk, so many people I talk to in my travels ask me these very similar questions that I'm going to ask you. And people want to know. As they used to say, inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. We must be psychically connected.
Well, you hypnotized me, so now you're in my mind, right? Is that, or is that a myth?
No, you can tell them about that. Ethically, I cannot say, oh yeah, I hypnotized Troy. But you can say that, and then we can talk about it. But I just follow your lead on that one.
Yeah. Cool. So I am going to Vegas to play some poker. Is there a way that I can hypnotize the opposing players to get them to fold?
No.
No. So that's a myth.
You know, yes, but I don't do another. Not really. You can't hypnotize people without them buying into it. So let's put it this way. If they are in awe of you, okay, and I'm not saying they're not. That sort of sounded like I don't really think that they're in awe of you, and I'm putting my foot in my mouth with every sentence. I get that. But if they are, what we would call in the biz, suggestible to you, okay, then you could use their suggestibility against them. But we wouldn't want to do that. Now, I do have, and this is not something I asked for, I have a plethora of professional poker players, gamblers that have come to me for help. And what we do is get them in this. So it's very much like sports hypnosis, where they're very clear going in what they're willing to bet, what they're willing to, let's say, lose, but we don't want to look at it as a loss, but they're willing to spend on the experience of going to Vegas, because it's like going out to a nice restaurant or going to a movie or going to Disneyland. You're spending the money not on a product, but you're spending the money on an experience. So if a person is willing to set aside a certain amount of money and they're very comfortable spending that on this experience, then there won't be thoughts in the head of, uh-oh, I'm losing, because we already have an inner boundary set, and that gives the mind less to worry about. And we can be in a zone, kind of like in sports when the players are very present. So presence is something that we like to hypnotize in, confident, but the mind free from anxieties, clutter, and that sort of thing, because that gets in the way of the common sense. So we want to have a nice, clean channel for the common sense and the wisdom to be there. And just feeling more feelings of being in control, that kind of thing. That's very a lot cool. About gambling that you didn't ask me, but anyway.
No. That was actually pretty fascinating, because that is a question I do get. It's that whole thing about suggestibility that some people worry. They go, oh my God, you got hypnotized? Oh, did you quack like a duck? Did you do crazy things? But that's a myth. Yes. Let's bust some myths here.
Yes, but if someone was hyper suggestible and they believed, maybe it's not true, for example, but let's say if they really believed that I could control their mind, I would have more control over their mind. The thing is, they wouldn't come to me because they would be afraid that I was going to control their mind. The truth of things is that we are only able to change our behavior or our mood to the degree we're willing to for a sustained period of time. So the most important thing for someone to know would be, what do you want? And if you want to feel at peace, then we can help you feel at peace. But
and then,
if I wanted the person to do something that they didn't want, it wouldn't, they're not suggestible to that. It's not something that they're open to.
Got it. So I think the takeaway here is, you who is sitting in the chair, where I'm talking to the audience out there, you who's sitting in the chair, you are always in control. You are still the boss of you, and it is your decision.
Yeah.
Nothing to be scared of, right?
Yeah. And that's why I'm so thorough in what we call the pre-talk, the coaching session. So let's imagine someone comes in and it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours they spend with me. A good hour of that is pre-talk, finding out what they want, finding out what is going on for them, what they are and are not willing to shift on. Yes, I provide a lot of insight into what I think might help them, but I need to hear from them a buy-in that they agree. And if they agree, then, and they're willing, then they're going to be able to take that suggestion in. Okay. So, and everybody can be hypnotized. There is a myth that some people can't be, but that's not true.
That was actually going to be one of my next questions, that some people say, well, I can't be hypnotized, so I'm just going to be wasting my money on that. So talk through that. How does that work?
Well, first I would say, what makes you think you can't be hypnotized? And then they would give me some, what might they say to that?
I am strong-willed. I know that people who are weak-willed are able to be hypnotized and mind-controlled. I am not.
Well, there's a lot there. And chances are, if someone came in like that, I'd probably say, look, this is not something that I'm trying to sell you into doing. For one thing, you're here because you came to me, so you came to me
that
because
is true.
You wanted, yeah. Everybody
that is true.
Not only can be hypnotized, but if you could not be hypnotized, you would be dead. Because you have to go through a state of hypnosis between being awake and falling asleep at night. So if you couldn't be hypnotized, you'd never get from wide awake to asleep. And without sleep, you'd die. So
I don't know anyone who's ever never slept. So
right.
Got it. Okay. So that's good to know. Now, when somebody comes in and says, I can't be hypnotized, it's more sounds like it's a resistance kind of thing as opposed to something realistic.
When they come to me, given that they've walked through my door, they usually say, I'm so scared I can't be hypnotized. They don't say I can't be hypnotized because they're coming to me because they want me to help them with something. So they all want whatever it is that they've decided they want. So, but very many will say, I'm scared I can't be. And in addition to showing them that they're in hypnosis when they fall asleep and wake up, so they've been in it, we also talk about environmental hypnosis, like when you're at a movie and it makes your heart pound with excitement, or you feel sad because someone on TV is losing somebody, or they're sad. And so when our emotional state is in sync with what we're seeing or what we're thinking or imagining, and movies and TV are all imagination. They're not, you're sitting at home and you're watching the television, right? So you're not being chased by the zombie. But when you respond, oh my gosh, this is so scary. Oh, you are in a state of what we call environmental hypnosis. And that happens all the time with people. Even when you're in the car and your mind drifts and you pass your exit, you're in a state of environmental hypnosis. If a song evokes a powerful emotion and takes you back to high school, you're in a state of environmental hypnosis. Anytime there's a visceral response like that to some sort of stimulus, and you're in a very relaxed but very focused state of awareness, that's a light state of hypnosis. And I think there's 132 levels of hypnosis, 3 major categories of it, between hypnoidal, cataleptic, and somnambulistic. And within those, there's a lot. But we don't need to be all the way to where we're completely paralyzed and out of control. In fact, if I put someone that deep, they wouldn't be able to follow along with what I was saying. We would only do that if they wanted some sort of pain management. Then we would go deep like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So it would be no different.
Like if you fell
asleep. Yeah. If you fell asleep on the couch and someone knocked at the door, you'd be able to get up and go answer the door. You'd be too tired to really want to do it, but you'd get up and do it. You're in hypnosis. So, and once you kind of, okay, wake up. Woo. And you start talking to the person, within a minute or two, you're fine. So you don't get stuck in hypnosis. That's a myth.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be some horror movie where somebody, I haven't seen that story arc yet, by the way, where the antagonist is a scary hypnotherapist. Hey, we might be onto something here. That could be one. A scary hypnosis person puts you into hypnosis forever. Ooh,
oh, well, there have been
scary
stories like that. You guys should go see Get Out. It's hysterically funny if you like to be scared and laugh your head off at the same time. And there is, well, I don't want to give
I love those movies.
I don't want to spoiler alert it, but it's bullshit. Okay. In that movie, the person puts the client into hypnosis against their will. And that's just not going to happen. Okay. On a stage show. So
that's myth busting too.
Yeah. On a stage show, they make it look like that. But if you've ever seen stage hypnosis done, for one thing, they are picking the audience members that are clambering to get up on the stage. There's plenty that are in the background going, oh, hell no. They're not calling those ones up. Then once they've got the ones that are really into it and really excited and really want to do that, those people already want to be in the show. So they're not making them do something against their will. They've already said yes, to the point that they're elbowing each other out of the way to get to the front of the line. Once they've got that group, they're looking for physical cues of people who are very, very suggestible. And there's about 20% of the population that falls in that category. And there's ways to interact with them and find that out. And they pick those ones. And then there's usually a moment where they send a few of the people who have already been chosen back to their seats because they're not that suggestible. And they end up working with the core group that's already, they're already like third stage somnambulist types. So they're way up on the suggestibility scale. And they're all wanting to be up there.
Super cool. And that is another, you know, people see those things on TV, right? Or they used to. I don't know if they still broadcast that kind of stuff, but I remember, you know, you'd have your hypnotherapist and he'd say, all right, watch this. Everyone sleep. Click, and then they're all like this.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, they're quacking like ducks and walking all like, yeah.
Yeah.
So that is fascinating, the entire mechanics of how that happens. So thank you for explaining that.
Yeah.
I believe people are interested in that kind of stuff.
I've actually been a participant before I became a hypnotherapist. I was at Knott's Berry Farm, and the amazing Dr. Dante was doing a really fun family hypnosis stage show one evening. And I was one of those ones who was, I want to go up there. I want to do it. I want to do it. And there were several moments in where we're all in the chairs and he would do sleep and we would honk out. And then he would give us suggestions. And then, you know, when I say the word this, you're going to stand up and start singing like Olivia Newton-John. And he gave me a song. And I mean, I've never, ever thought I had a good voice. And I've always been a little shy. But when he gave that post-hypnotic suggestion and I stood up, I grabbed the mic, and in front of literally probably a good 1,000 people, maybe more, I sang my heart out to an Olivia Newton-John song. Now, even as not a very good singer, her voice is way high.
Physical. Did you dance too?
Yeah, and I felt super confident, and it was really fun. And it was an amazing experience. But, you know, from the time I was a little kid, I always wished that I could be a rock star on a stage. So he wasn't hypnotizing me to do something that I didn't want to do. I was a big ham. I still am. I enjoyed attention then. I still do, as did everybody else on the stage. Now, some of us pretended like we didn't like to be the center of attention. But deep down, we really did. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been elbowing each other to get to the stage.
You wouldn't have been on stage.
Right.
Got it. Awesome. So, by the way, this is a two-part series on what we're talking about. This is pretty fascinating, though. This could be a three-parter because we're not even at the point where, you know, you're talking about suggestibility and things like that. And, you know, so to speak, programming the mind. You know, we could talk about that next week. But let's talk about one more thing for today to kind of, you know, to bust some more myths. Okay. So I wondered about this, and you, before we got on today, you kind of dropped this one, but the pendulum, and you actually said that you guys use pendulums. Is that like, what is that for? Does that focus the eyes, or is that something here? What is that?
Sure. Do? Okay. There's probably just an unlimited number of styles and types of hypnotic inductions. There's hypnosis is created by being overloaded with information, too much to process at once. And we call the clinical definition is hypnosis is created by an overload of message units disorganizing the inhibitory process or critical mind, triggering a fight-flight mechanism that ultimately creates a hyper-suggestible state, providing access to the subconscious mind. Now, in layman's terms, it's like if you have the hiccups and somebody shocks you, there's a quick reset. There's something that goes on and you don't have the hiccups anymore. Hypnosis is a little bit like that. That's a style of induction. In hypnosis, a pendulum I would use only for a little kid because they don't have the patience to do some of the primary inductions I use. The first time someone comes in, I typically use maybe 3 or 4 inductions that first day to create a certain level of depth that I want. And then I put in a post-hypnotic suggestion to rehypnotize them to that depth or even deeper. So the next time they come in, I can get them into hypnosis much quicker. But we take our time. I test their suggestibility. So when the eyes move, like with a pendulum, like I would do with a child, when the eyes are doing like this, I don't know if you can see my eyes with your eyes closed. I can
see your eyes.
Sometimes when someone's dreaming and their eyes are closed, you can see their eyes doing that. It's a cataleptic eye pattern movement. And it happens if you naturally start to fall asleep a little bit, your eyes will flutter. And then as you get a little bit deeper, they'll start to go back and forth. And then as you start to go a little bit deeper, they'll roll up. And then as you go deeper, they start snoring in their sleep. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So with a child, if you move the eyes like that and get their eyes fascinated, it can trigger the hypnotic state. But I wouldn't use that on just anybody. I would use that. And the types of stage inductions, those real rapid fire stage inductions, are not used by a hypnotherapist either, because those are used for the most suggestible people to get them into hypnosis quickly because they're hypersuggestible. Those types of inductions don't work for everybody. So when someone comes to see me, I analyze their suggestibility. I put them through a lot of tests, and then we start to do those tests. We try out several styles of hypnotic induction and find out what works for them. And I've seen hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, and there has never once been someone that I haven't been able to hypnotize. Never one, not even one person. And I've had a lot of people who were scared they couldn't be hypnotized, and many have been to other hypnotherapists. But those other hypnotherapists haven't been trained the same way. They don't know about the different styles of suggestibility. So it's just a matter of, and someone who's afraid to lose control needs a completely different way to feel in control when they're in hypnosis. So we use completely different mechanism with those types of people.
Ooh, that's a great teaser for next time, I think.
Yeah.
This has been a pretty fascinating HypnoTalk. I'm excited. What did you, how did you mention it? Like if I can create an aura about me so people on the table are in awe of me, I could say, hold your hand.
Well, you would need like church organ music, and you would need a pulpit, and you would need to have an elevated platform where you could look down at them, and you would need to drop your voice. And
lights shining on me.
Yeah.
Like the Wizard of Oz. That's why the Wizard of Oz did what he did.
I am Oz, the great and powerful. Yes. And they're quaking before they saw that it was just the man behind the curtain. Yeah.
True that.
And you can, I won't get into detail, but you can look at certain domains. Where are we when there's organ music and a pulpit and a big booming voice? Is everyone in hypnosis?
Maybe a Queen concert.
That too. A Queen concert.
AC/DC concert. They have cannons. Now, you know, Freddie Mercury played a great organ. Like when he played the organ, that was, yeah. But anyway, fascinating. Thank you. Thank you for joining us, and you out there on our beautiful, wonderful YouTube audience. Thank you for joining us as well. I look forward to part 2, maybe part 2 of 3 parts of this next week. And any final thoughts, Jana, our friendly hypnotherapist?
Yes, I would slap your hand in terms of wanting to hypnotize the other people to know when to fold. If you just trusted yourself and knew that you, in fact, are Troy the Great and Powerful. And I don't say this lightly.
I am good enough. Yes.
You're enough. You have no idea. This guy he looks like just a normal dude. This is one of the smartest people I've ever met in my entire life.
Oh,
and you are. And if you,
I receive
good. If you got that and you were standing there and you were just enjoying the love of the game, you'd be in the zone. So if I were, that would be part of that's so rather than trying to control what they're doing, you're just being in that.
I'm zoning it. I'm in the zone.
Yeah.
I love it. Maybe I'm going to have you be my poker coach. Like that has been some of the best poker, like good knowledge right there that, you know.
Yeah. I don't know why
powerful.
I haven't hypnotized people to bring me back a cut of the winnings. I mean, I really got to step my game up here a little bit. I haven't done that yet, but note to self.
True that. Well, I'll tell you this, when the pandemic ends and the WSOP is back in full force, and I do make it to a final table of the World Series of Poker final table again, when I make it again to a final table, I'm going to have you fly out to Vegas. You're going to rail me and you're going to be my poker coach. Okay.
Oh boy.
Deal.
That sounds like so much fun.
Deal.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Always a pleasure to speak with you and see you. And
drop some comments in the comments, guys, and I can address them next week. You know, any questions, because we barely scratch the surface